This is KCXULP 92.7 FM in the heart of San Jose. We're at the American Indian Heritage Celebration. It's their 12th annual. It is sponsored by 3 tribes, and the tribes are the Amamutsan Tribal Band, the Ohlone Iselen Nation, and also the Moweekma from the San Francisco Bay Area. So currently we are live at the pavilion off of the Santa Clara County ground, and it's open till 9 p.m. and the donation is $1, and if possible your parking will cost you up to $10.
A woman of few but powerful words. Islisiwat, everybody. She's a great dancer. A lot of times she leads our dances that we have. We have a dance that we do just for the children, for the young kids and stuff, and oftentimes she's the lead dancer for that. Like she said, she's been dancing for several years now. You know, her beautiful mother's over there with the other little future dancer. And Dad's going to be drumming in here in a little bit. But you know, we do presentations at schools, elementary, middle, high school, colleges, like that, trying to bring back our culture, you know, that was taken from us forcefully. And a lot of our people don't know who they are out here in the community, you know. So we make our ceremonies, particularly, I don't know if people have been to the Mexica New Year, Mexica Aztec New Year ceremony. If you've been to it before, just raise your hand. Just kind of get an idea if you've been to the Mexica Aztec ceremony in San Jose. It's one of the largest ceremonies, probably the largest in the United States. You know, you can come out and probably see about 500, 600, 700 dancers come out from different parts of the state, Los Angeles, Mexico, different states, you know, Texas, Wisconsin, New York. You know, come out Philadelphia, come out and join with us to, you know, merge their energies and stuff. And so we do that in accordance with our traditional our tonalmashio. What people call the Aztec calendar, we call it tonalmashio. And it's probably the most accurate calendar in the history of the world. You know, they say that maybe the Chinese have something on par with us. But, you know, we try to live according to the day energies of that calendar, and also there's monthly, yearly, etc. We just finished doing ceremonies called Micailwi, what people call Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos, to honor our passed aways, to honor the time of the year. This fall time is a time where we feel that the veil between this world and the spirit world is very thin, and so the ancestors come and visit. And so we set up ceremonies and our altars and our dances to honor them, to welcome them, to invite them to come and visit us. You know, they'll come visit us in our dream times. You know, so maybe we might see a relative that's passed away over on the corner of our eye. We see somebody, you know, walking, you know, different ways like that, and they'll come and visit with us during this time of year. During the months that we call Tlashoshimaco and Xocopuetzi, pretty much from the middle or ending of August through September and towards the end of September, 20-day periods each month. Our months were 20 days long, and so we had those 2 days, those 2 months. The first month was for the children who had passed away, the first 20 days. Then the second 20-day period is for the adults who had passed away. And so we have different types of ceremonies that goes along with that. Now as we're coming into the winter time, we're into the fall and the winter is coming up. You know, there's ceremonies that we do for that time also, called Huitzilopochtli. Huitzilopochtli, the hummingbird to the left, is if you're standing in the eastern door, you know, to the left is the south. And that's where you see that small sun. And during the winter time, it appears smaller in the sky. That's why we call it the hummingbird. You know, and in the summer, the sun is in its full splendor, and so we refer to it as an eagle at that time. So the dancers will come out. They're about ready to make their entrance. This is called Mexica Mitotilistli. It's a Mexica Aztec warrior dance. Okay, it's not a show. It's not Hollywood, it's none of that stuff. You know, this is ceremonial dancing. The movements represent the movements of animals. They represent the movements of fire and flames. Represent the movements of the wind, of the waters. You know, the waters that fall from the sky, waters that flow in the rivers and the creeks, and even in the oceans. You know, like that. So those are the different movements that the dancers do. Represent those different elements within nature. Our ancestors were very in touch with nature, both on the earth as well as above the earth, up in the cosmos. And we had teachings that were written down in our codices that were maybe 95, 98% of them were destroyed by the Spanish when they came. And they destroyed our codices and also those of the Mayans and some of the other tribes that wrote in picture, what they call pictography, picture language. And, you know, it was very, very telling. We had the histories of all the sciences and all that. You know, we can go on and on, but I think we're about ready to get going. This is the young lady's father right here, Pashititoa, Mr. Siwat's father, sitting over there with her mother and her little sister. And this is the leader of our group, Mitlalpili, Yetoshti, Mitlalpili. Kapuli Tonaleke.
Mateo. Good afternoon, relatives. Wali, good evening. Buenas noches. We appreciate the opportunity to participate in this beautiful gathering of indigenous people and continuing the struggle of resistance of over 500 years, 526 years of cultural resistance. And it feels beautiful to be participating with the different cultures, the California Native brothers. Land acknowledgement to our Muwekma, our Ohlone relatives over here. Thank you very much. To the Esalen family too. Thank you, relatives. To my brother, the deer dancer. To all the nations that are here represented. The Zunis, the Tarumaras, Apaches, Lakotas, whatever nation we might be represented here. It's beautiful when we all get to come together and share our cultures and share our traditions and share our dances together with our common heartbeat that we have here, these beautiful drums. So this first dance we're going to do in our language, in our native language, Nahuatl, not Spanish. These dances are not from Spain. These dances are from Mexico. In our language we say Mexico, Mexico. Mexico means metal, maguey, the maguey plant. Shikli, belly button. Go, the place. Mexico, Mexico, the place that is the belly button of the maguey plant, or the belly button of the moon. Mexico City was founded in a lake, Lake Texcoco, when an eagle landed on top of a cactus in the middle of a lake. And our ancestors traveled here from up north, from the Four Corners area, hundreds of years, and made their way down to Mexico City till they seen that sign. And that lake was in the shape of a of a rabbit. And in our tradition, if we look at the moon, it's also a shape of a rabbit. So it was a reflection of the moon to the earth. And that's where our ancestors built the largest city on this continent, Mexico City, Mexico Tenochtitlan. And still today, there's millions of our people that speak the language, that practice our traditions. Millions, not hundreds and not thousands, in the millions. And our culture is really strong still today. Even though the Spanish came and invaded back in 1519, but our roots will always be here. One of our great poets, the great leaders of our society, his name was Nezahualcóyotl, the fasting coyote, Nezahualcóyotl. He said, they can pull off our leaves, they can break off our branches, they can chop off our trunk, but never, never will they pull out our roots. So this dance is for our ancestors and for all of our ancestors here today. In our language, Nahuatl language, we say Huehuetilistli. In the Spanish language, we call Danza de la Antigua. And in the English dialect, we say Dance of the Ancient Ones. Mateo. very much. Muchas gracias. And in our language we say Tlazo Kamate. Thank you very much. This next dance we're going to do is a very special dance. I want to dedicate this, with all of your help, to a very special brother. And to some relatives of all of ours. Almost brings tears to my eyes, but this next dance we're gonna do is dedicated to a brother, Matlatzinka. Can you say Matlatzinka? Matlatzinka is our sister Siwapilis, our auntie Siwapili, one of the main members of our committee, Rose Amador, who's with her son right now in the hospital. So we want to dedicate this dance to them, to Matlatzinka, Robert, and her mother Siwapili, and her father Yaucoat, Noe, who are with their son right now and can't be with us. So we want to dedicate this next dance, warrior dance, to our brother. Send him energy, send him some good prayers, so he can get well and be with his family. Danza de Guerrero, the warrior dance, for the brother, Matlatzinka. If you can all say his name 4 times, relatives, help me out. Matlatzinka. 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 Nikanka. Muchas gracias, familia Tlazocamati. Thank you very much. Special prayer for our brother. We believe in these ways. We believe in these ways. Even before the arrival of religion on this continent, we always had our spiritual ways. We always had our four directions and our four elements. When we do these dances, we do a permission dance. The dancers make the sign of the four directions with their feet. Because the number 4 in our culture is very important. Not only the 4 directions, but the 4 stations of the day. From sunrise to noontime to sunset and to midnight, the 4 stations of the movement of the sun. The way that the sun moves from east to west and from north to south with the solstices and the equinoxes. Our ancestors observed in Mexico the movement of the sun. When the sun was the furthest to the north, it was summertime. And when the sun was the furthest to the south, it was wintertime. And whenever it was in the middle, it was spring and the fall time. And also, the 4 elements, the most important for us. When the Spanish came, they said we had a god of the wind, the god of the fire, a god of the land, and the god of the water. But that's not true. The word God in our culture didn't exist, nor did religion. We had a spiritual way of honoring and respecting the elements. But why are these elements so important? Maybe some people ask. Why do they honor the wind? Why do they honor the water? Why do they honor the land and the fire? Maybe some foreign cultures maybe not understand, but I know my native relatives understand these things. For us, and it's very simple, no matter what culture or what color we come from, or what part of the world, Africa, Asia, Europe, or here, we all breathe the air. We are air. We all drink the water, and we know the majority of our body is made up of water, so we are also water. And we all eat from our Mother Earth, provides us everything that we need. So we are also the earth. And our bodies are warm. You ever take your temperature? Fire is inside us too. When one dies, the bodies get cold because we are also fire. It's that simple, relatives. We are those elements are us. It's important that we take care of them and respect them for our future generations. So we're going to do one last dance here. This dance is dedicated to all of you, love and compassion for one another. This dance is called Huilot in our native Nahuatl language. Can you say Huilot? Huilot. In the Spanish language, we say Danza de la Paloma, dance of the dove in the English language. And we do this dance in pairs because it represents balance, duality. Like the Chinese say, the yin and the yang. We say, entloque and ahuaque, what is close and what is together. Just like our own bodies. We have 2 arms, we have 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 lips, 2 nostrils. This is the dance of love and compassion for one another. So we just want to send this vibration to all of you relatives, send you love and compassion in a good way, and everybody for the rest of this night, the rest of the dancers, that everything goes just as beautiful it has up to this point. Danza de la Paloma para todos ustedes. We hope you enjoy. Muchas gracias. O Mateo. Mateo. Okay, muchas gracias, everybody. Thank you very much. Lazo Gamati, we really appreciate it. Thank you for all the good energy, the good vibes, all the committee. Thank you, everybody, for all your hard work here, the head staff, for putting this beautiful gathering together, all the hosts, tribes, and all the vendors, all the volunteers. We appreciate you all very much. Prayers, good medicine to all of you. We're going to make our exit and pass the mic over here back to our MC, Omateo.
Capone Danza! Give it up louder! Come on louder! That's San Jose style right there. Very fortunate to have that right here. Don't go, you have an exciting night left ahead of you. Dancers from across the nation will be here dancing intertribal styles. You'll have the opportunity to witness Gordon dancing, hear some good southern and northern style songs. All right here, we get one more deer dance. You're gonna see one more deer dance coming out here in just a moment. And our southern style Gordon dance and southern style songs. All nation singers are here. I see Grammy nominated Michael Andrews and Michael Ballinger. Hopefully, I haven't seen him yet, but if he's here, hello. The deer dance. We're going to go into a very special guest speaker. And then from there, we're going to a gourd society. Talk about that. Gourd dance. Veterans roll call scheduled for tonight. But we have powwow style dance exhibitions, and I understand we have a full lineup. Fancy war dancer, women's traditional dancers, men's traditional dance style, the grass dance, jingle dance, fancy shawl dance, just to name a few of the dance styles you see in exhibition tonight. All these dancers come from around the Bay Area to be here specifically to show you this exhibition tonight. From throughout the state. I want to point out something too. Eugene, if you could come out here, Eugene. If I could have your attention, audience, as we get closer to the gourd dance, as we get closer to the exhibition style dancing, This young man, he's from Miami, Oklahoma. His name is Eugene Newman. He will be presiding over this circle here, keeping us good. So I know we got some kids out here playing, but when we get going, this will be really important that we take care of this that we prayed over and said over. And so give Eugene a hand. He's got a big responsibility tonight. And if he asks you to kind of move, because we have to have dancers coming in, or if he asks you for some help out with the entrance for the dance, he's doing it in a good way. He's doing it to keep it. Now this is not a powwow, but we won't let anything in here come out of the respect we have for the dancers and the origins of these dance styles. So we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Gene. Thank you. All right, just for a minute. I asked that in a good way. We have a very special speaker next. Very special. To the young ones. To the young ones over there. Young nation singers. To the people from the West. The East, the South, and the North. I ask your indulgence on something. We have a very special guest. He's listed as a keynote speaker for this evening. It gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce somebody I've long called a good friend of mine. He's a very special person. He's very special for not only historically, this individual. He's born on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Yes, he was a Marine. Yes, he attended Haskell. Haskell's an Indian school in Lawrence, Kansas. Actually, right down the street from the University of Kansas. I was just recently there. And the relationship the two schools have is phenomenal. They still have that to this day. University of Kansas. In the conference he was in the NCAA, he was the champion, the best runner. The best runner. When he went to the Olympics, if you hear the story, he did something that no other American has ever done since he did that on that evening in 1960. You're going to hear about that, just a moment about that. Where something happened that has never happened in this country before and may never happen again. In fact, Americans will have the opportunity when the Olympics returns to Tokyo this next few years here. It's unique. His story is a great story of a young man who at 12 had no mother and father. He ran for his people, for his heart. If I could ask your quietness, we're going to play something. And then this phenomenal speaker is going to say a few words for you. His name is Billy Mills. Give him a hand, Billy Mills. It is his birthright now to tell the story that he's going to tell you. It is his birthright. For as long as he walks, he is our champion at the 10K, Olympic champion, and always, always a Marine. Here it is. Please listen. Please, can I have your quietness? Please listen.
1,000 meters, 25 minutes, 45 and 8/10 seconds. They're going to break the Olympic record if they continue on this pace. It's a slow track, although it's a wonderful day for running. It's cool here in National Stadium. The crowd is roaring. 80,000 people are almost out of their seats watching these runners. Clark is back in the lead. Clark of Australia. Followed by Gamoudi of Tunisia. Mills of the USA is in third position. Mills is staying, and now Mills once again is making his move. Clark refuses to let Mills go around him. They're battling for the championship of the world. They're battling shoulder to shoulder. They're knocking men off the track. They had to move a man. Clark moves out in front. And now here comes Gamoudi of Tunisia. He takes the lead, followed by Clark of Australia. You can't believe it. They've run almost 10,000 meters, and they are literally shoulder to shoulder. Gamoudi of Tunisia is moving now. He's making his move. Clark is trying to stay with him. Gamoudi is sprinting. He's coming off the curve. They're about to finish the race. There's only 100 meters left. Gamoudi is out in front. No, Clark is taking him. No, Gamoudi is saving off the challenge. Clark is sprinting. Gamoudi is out in front by you. Here He's got Still to the USA! Still to the USA! He won! He won! Followed by Djibouti. 28 minutes, 24 and 1/10 seconds. What a fantastic victory for the United States. We've just seen one of the most spectacular races in the history.
October 14th, 1964, I laid footprints on Mother Earth that forever altered my life. I'm going to share with you footprints that were laid on Mother Earth long before I laid my footprints on the money track in Tokyo, Japan. I'm going to talk to you about footprints that make us who we are today as tribal nations and as the United States of America. And I want to do it for several reasons. There's a continual assault on the footprints Native Americans have laid on Mother Earth. For example, just last week, the President of the United States introduced a proclamation to change Native American Month to National American History and Founders Month. I want to share with the young people and the elders here what I think that means. The best way to do it would to start with footprints laid on Mother Earth, May 4th, I believe, 1493. This is not an attack on Jesus Christ. It's not an attack on the teachings of Jesus, but it shows you how individuals, motivated by greed, can manipulate words of wisdom for their own benefit. Words of wisdom that today are still trying to wash footprints laid by our ancestors away by the passage of time and the winds of change, and now by more presidential proclamations. May 4th, 1493, inspired by the kings and queens of Europe, the wealth of Europe, courtesy of the Vatican, the Pope wrote the doctrine of discovery. All of our young people need to know it. They need to articulate what it means and articulate what we have to do as individuals, as tribal nations, and as citizens of the United States of America to collectively bring about the changes that will allow us collectively to choreograph the horizon of our future. The doctrine of discovery. Any new lands found, written by the Pope, any new lands found can only belong to the first Christian monarch that discovers them. And the inhabitants of those lands, the indigenous people, estimates of 60 to 100 million of our ancestors, upon landing upon the shores, they must come under international rule of law. Their religion, their language, their songs, the sacredness of their drums, their dance will no longer apply, and they must submit to Christianity. But then it was realized if our ancestors submitted to Christianity, they could own land. That's the dark part of the history where they said we had no souls. Genocide began, justified in the eyes of the European ancestors, the new immigrants, justice, genocide of the indigenous people. We can see that on our borders today. Estimates of 54 to 94 million of our ancestors killed. What is the United States of America? A low of 12 to a high of 23 million indigenous people. At the end of the wars, our Native American ancestry comes from the 250,000 that survived. Other countries are studying today the most devastating genocide on the planet occurred in the Americas upon our indigenous ancestors. While in America today, our leadership, American leadership, is trying to let those footprints be washed away by the passage of time and the winds of change. 1823, the United States government, our United States Supreme Court, to win a lawsuit, based their defense on the doctrine of discovery. Indian people cannot own land. So we can sign treaties, we can break treaties. Every treaty signed, every treaty broken. That gave birth to manifest destiny, which if you look at the true definition of manifest destiny, this land, what is the United States of America today, this land is a gift to the European immigrants from God. I'm half Lakota, I'm half European ancestry. So America is a gift to half of me. The other half of me was thrust into generational trauma. Now the land had to be developed. Slavery. No words can describe the inhumane treatment on innocent. When the slaves were freed, 4 million new citizens. Our leadership in Washington, D.C. went to the poor white, maybe some of my white relatives. I've never met a white relative, but I'm half white. Don't let them take your jobs. They learned great skills as slaves. Don't let them take your jobs. Other countries are saying, as they study this today, that put fear into the poor white. Fear created hate. Hate created racism. Jim Crow was born. 1 year before I won a gold medal at the Olympic Games, I witnessed the Civil Rights Act being passed. We've all seen, regardless of our age, on television today, the young black leadership, women, men, elders, being washed away by the power of a water hose, with water knocking them across the streets. Civil rights activists being killed. I visited Dr. Martin Luther King's church just to try to get a feeling what maybe those 4 young, innocent young girls were feeling when they put on their robes to sing in the choir when the bomb was thrown, taking their lives. The Civil Rights Act was overcountered by the war on drugs. The war on drugs, to begin with, was to make young hippies and young black men felons. They dropped hippies and included all young men of color. The war on drugs spread to our reservations. I visited 3 reservations 2 months ago where our young girls, our beautiful young innocent girls, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, have to find a different place to sleep every night because of the meth that has overpowered our Native American communities. And if someone's on meth, the first reaction they have to justify, a craving reaction, and that's to satisfy their own basic sexual needs. And if there's an 8-year-old girl in the house, she will be taken advantage of. If there's an elderly woman, she, or a 12-year-old boy, he will be taken advantage of. The war on drugs is destroying many of our communities. We cannot let the footprints that created this be washed away by the passage of time, by the winds of change. Those footprints I just described are etched into every fiber of our social way of life in America. They're etched into every fiber of our educational system, every fiber of our entrepreneurial system, every fiber of our political system, forever dictating our rule of law. The young people here today, the young ones, are the seventh generation, and it's the seventh generation that will allow us to heal from generational trauma. Generational trauma as a brother or a sister that has to be addressed also, and that I call generational privilege. We can witness generational privilege daily as many of our people suffer from generational trauma. The seventh generation, our sacred youth, are the ones that will help us heal. We have to empower them. I have a vision of my own through my Running Strong program. I want to empower the visions of our elders. I want to inspire the dreams of our youth, but we need to do it collectively. We need to come together. We can dance. Our young people no longer have to go underground to keep our culture. So I challenge constantly our young people to take the culture, the traditions, the spirituality, and extract from them the virtues and the values that empower them, and put those virtues and values into their educational pursuit. I put them into my Olympic pursuit, into my marriage. Why? Because it's the virtues and the values of our culture, our traditions, our spirituality that gives us confidence, gives us direction, and gives us a clarity of mind to keep the sacredness of our drum, the language, the songs, the traditions, and choreograph, along with the rest of America, the horizon of our future. And if we do that, America then will reach the maturity, the sacredness that our flag represents, but our laws do not. So in closing, America, the United States of America, needs its indigenous people, its minority, people of color, its women, not my words, but it needs its women who hold up half the sky. We are in a position to empower this country I served as an officer of the United States Marine Corps, because the country needs us. They need our young people. They need our elders. They're looking for a purpose. Our elders have the visions. Our youth have the dreams. Collectively, you and I have to empower the visions of our elders. Collectively, you and I have to inspire the dreams of our young people, because therein lies the future of the United States of America. I'm humbled, I'm honored to be here with you on Native American Month, and we have to make sure that the rest of America understands.
This is KCXULP 92.7 FM. It's the heart of San Jose. We're at the American Indian Heritage Celebration. It's their 12th annual. It is sponsored by 3 tribes, and the tribes are the Amamutsan Tribal Band, the Ohlone Iselen Nation, and also the Moweekma from the San Francisco Bay Area. So currently we are live at the pavilion off of the Santa Clara County ground, and it's open till 9 p.m. and the donation is $1, and if possible your parking will cost you up to $10.